Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Nashville Predators, as I think they have had probably the best offseason of any team in the National Hockey League. We're going to discuss why here in today's video. So we're going to start off with before the draft, before free agency. I know a lot has happened after that, but we will get to that. So to start the offseason, there was a lot of questions about goaltending. They have Yaroslav Askarov and UC Saros. And UC Saros has been a goaltender that the Predators have pretty much always wanted to keep, but there was rumors back at the trade deadline they might be willing to trade him. And UC Saros has been the face of this team in between the pipes since Pekka Rinne left. It definitely would be strange to see him not only in a different sweater, but for the Predators going with another goalie. It would make sense for them to go for Askarov, but they decided to extend UC Saros. They made sure that he will be staying in Nashville. Honestly, it's one of those things, it just makes sense. And you know, I think it's safe to assume at some point we're going to see his number in the rafters alongside Pekka Rinne at some point. And I think that's something that, you know, for most of the Predators fans out there, is something that they would love to see, a Stanley Cup banner there as well. And we'll get to maybe why I think they can do that this season or in the next couple of years. So yeah, the money side of it makes sense. It's a long-term deal. You know, the Predators knew if they were going to keep UC Saros, he was going to want some security on that deal and was not going to sign just any contract. He wanted some security. So it made total sense for them to go out there and keep UC Saros on a 7-year deal. I think it's $74 million over that time. So like I said, it just made sense. It's an 8-year deal, $7.74 million per season. And this is going to take him until the 2025-2026 season. So July 1st of 2026 is when this actually, well, no, July 1st of 2025 is when this deal actually begins. So my mistake on that. So like I said, this makes a lot of sense for both teams here, you know. Honestly, I think the number is really fair. At less than $8 million here, I think that's a bargain for what UC Saros brings to the Predators, what he's done for this team. And the fact they have him on an 8-year deal, I think this is one of those contracts that's not going to age as poorly as maybe a deal like Shesterkin, like we could see as soon as next year. So UC Saros, great contract for him and a great contract for the Preds. And then following that up, you know, that was kind of the talk of the town for the Predators. Then at the draft, they went and select Yegor Shirin from the KHL, and that was their pick, 22nd overall at the draft. Then we saw them kind of going into the free agency period. There was a lot of talk about who they were going to try and keep. They ended up keeping Alexander Carrier on a deal. Nothing crazy, but Carrier stays in Nashville. Jonathan Marchessault comes in. That was the first bigger move to be acquired during free agency. It's a 5-year deal, $5.5 million per season. I like this deal a lot. You know, Marchessault is coming in with a fire under his ass. You would think that winning the Stanley Cup in 2023 would have been enough, and winning the, I think it was the Conn Smythe, he feels very disrespected. This is a player that probably, you know, I don't like saying this because people take this the wrong way. He has something to prove, and I think he wants to prove to himself and he wants to prove to Vegas that they made a mistake. So I think for Marchessault, great contract for him. It's got some security there, and at $5.5 million per season, that's a great move by Barry Trotz. Honestly, really good stuff. And obviously, you know, that was not the only move that the Predators made. Obviously, Brady Shea coming in. This contract I'm not such a big fan of for two reasons. Term and per year contract. $7 million per season for Brady Shea for the next 7 years. I don't like this contract. I think Shea is a fine player. That is a lot of freaking money. For a guy, the way he plays, he's a physical guy. He's already, he's not old, but he's not 23. And he's making $7 million per year. This is just screaming buyout, in my opinion. I guess Barry Trotz likes him, and I get it. That's a lot of freaking money, though. So we'll see how that works out. And you know what? For the Predators, if they win a Stanley Cup in the next 2 or 3 years, it doesn't matter what happens with Brady Shea. But I think that's a lot of freaking money. Good on Brady Shea and his agent, but damn, for the Predators, that's a lot of money to be dishing out for Shea, in my opinion. And then, of course, the other contract, which is the Steven Stamkos contract, the one that everybody was talking about on free agency day. And that is Steven Stamkos signing a 4-year contract. Comes out to $32 million over the next 4 seasons. You do the math on that, 32 divided by 4, that's $8 million per season for Stammer. This is a great contract for him, not only for the fact that he's getting paid what he's worth, but the fact that he's coming into Nashville. He's going to be reunited with a former teammate that he had back in Tampa, in Jonathan Marchessault. Marchessault's bounced around a little bit. He was with the Panthers. He was with the Golden Knights. And now joining up with Stamkos in Nashville. You have to assume that had some influence on that decision. Like I said, I think Barry Trotz, really, he won free agency. Now, that doesn't necessarily correlate to that means they're going to win the Stanley Cup next summer. But it's a very good direction the Predators have gone in since Barry Trotz came in. You look at some of the guys he's brought in there, some character, culture, glue guys. And I think that's huge for the Predators. That is something that goes a long way. And considering they made it to the first round of the playoffs last year, did pretty well, I think you make additions like this, adding Marchessault and Stammer and Shea. They have a lot of playoff experience. They've been deep in the playoffs. They have that veteran aura, that presence. Nashville's going to be legit next season. And then you stack on top of that, you have Carrier for a couple more years. You have Saros for the next decade, basically. The Predators are looking on the up. And for a team that, being a fan of the New York Islanders, looking for a team right now on the West Coast that I'll be cheering for in 2025. If I didn't have enough reasons with Barry Trotz there, you give me a couple more reasons like Stamkos and Marchessault coming in there that want to have a chip on their shoulder, have something to prove. Man, the Predators next season, guys, I really love the way this team looks. And you stack that on top of some of the younger guys that are going to be coming up and some of the guys that we've already kind of seen coming up the ranks in Nashville. This team's going to be dangerous next season. And like I said, we kind of talked about during the playoffs this past season, the key to their success, you knew what you were getting from O'Reilly, you knew what you were getting from some of those guys on the back end, but you weren't sure if the young guys were going to continue to perform. And we saw down the stretch, the reason the Predators made the playoffs last season was because of those young guys stepping up when it mattered most. And if you have that combination with this superstar talent that you have up top, the Predators might be the team to watch for in the Central Division next season. And you look at teams like St. Louis, kind of on the decline-ish. Chicago will start to move forward, but they're still not where they want to be. Minnesota, still kind of a mediocre team. Colorado is still the Colorado Avalanche, but they continue to hemorrhage pieces over the years since that Stanley Cup. Nashville, this could be their time. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of the Nashville Predators? Because I think they're legit this year, but I want to know what you guys think. That's a saying we talk about here on the channel a lot, is teams that win in free agency and start celebrating the Cup during July aren't necessarily the teams that are going to be celebrating in June of the following year. So I want to know what you guys think. Right, like I said, just to recap some of the deals, they re-signed and extended UC Saros and Alexander Carrier. They brought in some depth additions like Kiefer Bellows, but they also signed some big top-notch defensive free agents like Brady Shea and some big free agent forwards like Jonathan Marchessault and Steven Stamkos. Let me know your guys' thoughts on that. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time.